All right, welcome back. It's Pet Doctor time again with Dr. Larsen and
Geo and Parker. They're both little male cats. They're 8 weeks old.
pretty relaxed, really.
Obviously, they're brothers.
Yeah, they don't really seem to care about much.
No, they're okay.
Okay, ear infections. If you have a kid, they're no fun, but they're not much fun with pets either.
No, they're not.
And they're fairly common, I'm going to guess.
They are. Now, ear infections in dogs are a little more common than cats, but cats get their fair share of ear infections. It's not unusual to find ear infections in either dog or cat.
Okay.
Today, we're going to talk more about cat ear infections.
We'll talk about the cat ones. Different levels of it, so to speak?
There are. It's more named by the anatomy where the infection starts.
Okay.
Now, the cats will get what's called a ear. This is their ear, and we call it the ear flap inside. There's less hair on the inside, and we'll tell the owners about ear flap infections. That's when the infection happens there. Down into the tube of the ear called the ear canal, we call that otitis externa. Okay. Another part of the anatomy that gets infected. Eardrum on the inside the head a little bit further, that's called middle ear. And then inner ear is when the infection goes from the middle ear clear inside.
Ooh, so that's no fun. Let's start with the ear flap one. What are you going to see there? We're
going to see a red inflamed ear. A cat will often flick its ear. A lot of ear flicking and scratch out his ear. It's a sore ear. They want to rub on it, and it bothers them quite a bit.
And the ear canal?
Ear canal, Tim, that's when you look in the ear, we can see a lot of brown coffee ground looking stuff in there sometimes. It's kind of sometimes it's moist, sometimes it's dry. If they have ear mites, it's going to be a dry look to it.
Okay.
So if they have a bacterial infection, it's going to be more of a liquid type material. Oftentimes has an odor to it. Most common area to get ear infections as external ear infections are otitis externa.
What about the otitis media?
Media, that we're going a little bit further.
Now, a little deeper
eardrum, if it gets involved, are inside the eardrum. We call that otitis media. Now, with that, it's a infection that maybe started at otitis externa and it had gone inward.
Okay.
When we look at the ears, if we can see the eardrum, because if we have otitis externa with it, we're not going to see the ears because all this crud and stuff's in there. But if it's just media, we look at the eardrums. And that's oftentimes gives us a hint, Tim, because the eardrums normally by atmospheric pressure comes down, pushes the eardrum inward. We call that concave. That's normal.
Okay.
But when there's more pressure inside the eardrum on the other side of it than there is on the outside, it's going to push the eardrum outward. That more pressure is going to push it outward, and that's called convex. That's a dead ringer that we have otitis media when we see that. Otitis media kittens or cats will have a head tilt. There'll be a little bit of ataxic. They're still eating and still doing okay, but you can tell they're bothered by an ear infection.
Let's talk about the other one, the one where you're going way in, down into the inner ear. Yeah. How would they behave with that one?
Well, it's hard to miss because those guys are severely affected by their ear infection. They are disoriented. They're ataxic to a point they can hardly stand. Sometimes they can't stand. If they can stand, they're going to maybe walk in circles oftentimes. They're not eating. They're not drinking. They're on a 1 to 10 scale, sick, they look like they're a 10.
Okay.
But they can recover from it.
All right. Some really good information there.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Dr. Larsen. Stick with us. We'll be coming right back.